In the beginning, some say it happened this way. That 13.8 billion years ago, give or take a few million years, the universe burst into being with a big bang. After another million years of deepest silence, the universe convulsed again, producing stars and planets, including eventually Earth, our island home. As molten earth cooled, oceans formed, and then dry land, followed by all living things, including us humans. Humans and non-human animals share many characteristics, but among the things setting us apart from other animals are self-reflection, advanced reasoning, oh yes, an opposable thumb that can reach across to the other side of the hand, giving us the unique ability to grab and manipulate tools and other items of art. In the beginning, Christians and Jews and Muslims would add this to any account of creation, regardless of how creation came into being, that God was there at the start, that everything that has ever existed does so because of an unmatched, incomprehensible act of love by that creator God of ours, and that all creation bears a quality of goodness. And we also believe that God would have us preserve or restore that state of goodness or wholeness or shalom whenever it's broken, either by acts of nature or by our actions or beliefs. In the beginning, Christians also hold these beliefs about creation. They are magnificently expressed in the prologue to John's Gospel, which we just heard. In the beginning was the Word, or Jesus, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was there in the beginning with God. All things came into being through him, and without him not anything came into being. One of my favorite descriptions of wisdom's role in creation comes from the Old Testament book Proverbs, where wisdom is synonymous with Word, and therefore with Jesus. Here's wisdom's description of its role in creation. And remember, wisdom is Jesus speaking. The Lord created me at the beginning of his work, the first of his acts long ago. Ages ago I was set up at the first, before the beginning of the earth. Now, after describing various aspects of creation, the earth, the skies, the sea, wisdom continues. And try to imagine this anthropomorphically from a human standpoint. Then I was beside him, like a child to his father, like a master worker. And I was daily his delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in the inhabited world and delighting in the human race. Isn't that a soul-warming image? Jesus literally dancing across the cosmos, delighting in everything that God created, including the human race. Well, let's descend from those ethereal realms back to earth. Indeed, back to a small town called Bethlehem in the Holy Land 2,000 years ago. There in the evening, we see a grumpy old man standing beside an inn. He manages that inn. In the clouds of his faith, the eyes of his faith are clouded by beds to make, mouths to feed, books to keep. We hear him grumbling. If those aren't teenagers that started their journey earlier, or finished earlier, they wouldn't have to use that dark, dank manger as a birthing room for their child. Speaking of ethereal, about that time a glowing, luminous figure stands next to the grumpy old man. We can see and hear that angel, but the old man can't. She says, "Hey man, don't you see what's happening in there? It's the birth of the Son of God. It's the birth of the Messiah. It's the birthing into the world of the living proof of God's unconditional love and acceptance for everything that God has created. A cry comes from nature. The Son of God, Son of Man, Son of God has been born. A new creation has been born. The angel flies back to the heights to proclaim the glorious news to all heaven and earth. Unmoved, with the eyes of faith still dim, the curmudgeon heads back into the inn to make beds, mouths to feed, books to keep. Life as it is for him rushes on to that poor soul. But how about you and me? Having heard and seen the inbreaking of a new world, do we reflexively retreat into our spiritual drudgery the way the innkeeper did? Here's a Christmas thought. We were made in God's image. As such, we are not just spectators in the universe under construction. Like Jesus, who danced through the universe at the beginning, breathing into it life at every stop, we are co-creators with God, blessing the people and the lives that we touch with a fresh infusion of the love of God. Imagine that everybody that you meet will receive a fresh infusion of the love of God. So let's get on and muck the stalls of our lives, the stables where we live and work and play and study, so that the great goodness of God's creation, filled with light and life and wholeness, can abound. By God, God's Son, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit working through us, our world can live and move and have its being just as God intended, whole and holy.